So hey anime fans. The series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Dragon Ball's Girls. So let's start the series. Naruto was observing Kakashi while he stayed in the clinic. He had recently asked his sensei to get him ready after successfully passing the Chunin examinations preliminary round. As he read his book, Kakashi stated, "I apologize, Naruto, for not being able to prepare you. So you're going to prepare Sasuke. That is the reason you won't train me," growled Naruto. "Okay, I found somebody who might be better than me for you," Kakashi groaned. Naruto waited a second and took a gander at Kakashi and queried, "Who?" Naruto turned as a voice said, "Me," and then growled once more. He glanced at Kakashi and said, "Screw you, Kakashi. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. You're the same as the remainder of this town. Indeed, even after I saved your life from Zabuza when your valuable Sasuke needed to take off in dread, yet I saved his life too, and I thought you were different than the remainder of this town, yet besides the fact that you play top picks, however, you likewise attempt to give me to somebody who just considers me to be a devil. That is all there is to it. Take Sasuke and train him hard. I will track down somebody myself to prepare me, and I won't just lose Sasuke yet every other person in the competition," and fled out of the building. Kakashi sighed and said, "Sorry about that, Abuse." Abuse replied, "He's right, or he used to be. I saw him as an evil presence, however, at that point after the manner in which I saw him changing Konohamaru, I understood that he's not." As he turned a page in his book and walked away, Kakashi looked down and remarked, "I will make it dependent upon him later." As he was leaving, Abuse remarked, "Some way or another I question you will be able to, Kakashi." Running till he approached the Hokage Tower, Naruto rushed into the Hokage doorway and shut it, ignoring the guards and the secretary who tried to stop him. When he saw Naruto, the Hokage, who had been braced for an attack, became silent and asked, "What's wrong, Naruto, and why did you burst into my office like that?" The Hokage arched an eyebrow when Naruto approached him after locking the door and remarked, "I have a proposal for you, elderly person." The Hokage replied, "Truly, what sort of proposal do you have that would intrigue me?" With his arms crossed, Naruto uttered, "Basic, I have a proposal that will not only help you with your desk work but also the majority of the problems in this town." After looking at Naruto, the Hokage remarked, "And how might you have the option to do this, and how would you realize you can make it happen?" Naruto said, "Basic. I sorted out a just to do all your desk work something like 2/3 of a period quicker than you do now, and I likewise have had enough of this poo." Since Naruto never swore in his office, the third groaned. He could embarrass a mariner outside of the office, but he had always stopped here. He asked, "What is wrong?" Naruto murmured, "I just triumphed ultimately, my final bit of excess, elderly person. I went to Kakashi and requested that he train me for the finals. He denied me as well as attempted to give me to somebody who has straightforwardly conceded that he thinks I'm a devil. Indeed, even after I saved his life in Wave, he pulled the trick on me. I was pissed when I heard he planned to prepare Sasuke, however, when he said he found somebody better to prepare me, I gave him a benefit of an uncertainty. Then when he showed me who it was, I settled on a choice, and I reprimanded him and ran here to see you and propositioned you an arrangement." With a distressed expression, the third person looked at Naruto and asked, "What is this arrangement you need, Naruto?" Naruto replied, "I need two things. I will prepare for the following month secretly. I don't believe you should stress over me or attempt to track down me. Consequently, I will tell you the jutsu I sorted out to beat administrative work. Do you concur?" The third taken a look at Naruto and said, "What are you going to do?" Naruto replied, "I don't know yet. Somebody has told me of some things I can do to assist with my concerns, like loads to speed up, water strolling to gain better chakra influence. That's what things like. However, I will attempt a couple of things I have been thinking comparably well and check whether I can inspire it to work." "Are you wanting to leave the town?" the third person said. Naruto replied, "Okay, however, I will return the day of the finals. I'm going somehow, and it really depends on you. On the off chance that it will be viewed as an individual preparation trip or a missing ninja, and you won't have the option to keep a guard on me perpetually, and in the end I will slip away. I have the best coveredness in this town supposedly, since I have lead ABNU, Jounan, Chunins and Genins, including individuals from the Inuzaku tribe." "Fine. You got it," said the third, squeezing his nose. Naruto stated, "The key to desk work is Kujibunshin's. I had previously sorted out that theory recollections return to the first, and since they are your clones, they would figure the manner in which you do. Just dispel them each in turn. I was saving that for when I became Hokage, however I won't become Hokage in the event that I fall off the deep end from the disdain. Alright, what might be said about the second piece of the arrangement? You said you had a method for taking care of a large portion of the town issues, the third replied, looking wide-eyed as he considered everything. His arms had been down for a moment and said, straightforward. After the tests, climate I become a chunin or not. Assuming that I rout each rival that I face in the tests, I need San and Go privileges to travel every which way however I see fit. That way when this town poop gets too much for me I can proceed to vent. That way when I'm not here the town doesn't need to stress over me. How would you be familiar with those privileges, Naruto? Asked the third. Naruto replied, I recollect that from Iruka Sensei's examples how the Sanins could travel every which way however they wanted. As the third whispered, is just all. After giving it some thought, Naruto answered, okay. The third responds with a gesture, okay. Your preparation missions has been supported and good luck. On the off chance that you beat every one of your adversaries in the tests I will likewise permit you to have Sanin travel privileges. Two people looked at the corner as a shroud fell and a white-haired man with the kanji for oil on his headplate appeared. The third person asked, how could you realize he was the Naruto? As Naruto gestured and said, might I at any point have it incorrecting and saw by him? Naruto replied, straightforward, each since that snake charlatan meddled with the seal I have had the option to recognize chakra marks, even ones that are covered up. I likewise smelled the purpose on his breath and the fragrance of shaving cream implying that it was undoubtedly a person. I don't know what his identity is, nevertheless I figured that if you could permit him to sit and stand by listening to this then you trust him. You said Orochimaru meddled with your seal, the third person remarked. Naruto replied, okay, yet I don't need it scattered. He really helped me out, climate he knows it or not. I am jury of the Sanin. For what reason help you say Orochimaru did you out? The third cast a glance at the white-haired man who walked forward. Naruto chuckled as he continued, straightforward. At the point when he hit me with that 5-star seal I think he called it he inattentively liberated a second individual who was fixed to Kyobi. She was the person who let me know what my shortcomings are. Jiraiya shot a gander at the third and queried, who is she and how do you have any idea that it's anything but a stunt of the Kyobi? While he checked the third out, Naruto remarked, might you want to meet her? She said that she can demonstrate it, however you would need to bring Emma to come clean with it she is telling. A white chimp appeared and asked, what is it you want of me, close buddy? After the third answered, great. I need to know this for myself. He bit his thumb and went over some hand signs before banging his hands on his floor and saying, gathering jutsu. After the third highlighted Naruto, he closed his eyes and was suddenly covered in smoke. As the smoke dissipated, a young woman with dark hair, bruised eyes, and an orange handkerchief appeared wearing a red shirt and blue jeans. Emma wheezed and uttered the words, it cannot be. How? The third taken a peek at Emma and stated, you know her, Emma. Everyone turned to stare at Emma as she remarked, okay, but she can't conceivable be here. She kicked the bucket almost quite a while back. To some degree, right, Emma, and seeing you great. Tell me, did we win the fight? The young woman groaned. Emma replied, okay, you and the others won the fight, however why don't you recollect what occurred? The young woman replied, basic, when I was battling Captain Jinyu my spirit was tossed out of my body and the time stream similarly as Mirai was, with the exception of when he did it some way or another a piece of my spirit was replicated in the time stream. Before I know it as I awakened caught inside that damn fox Kyobi, feeble to do everything except watch it annihilate. I saw my spirit return into my body when Trunks went postal on Jinyu, driving him once again into his unique body, however that was the last thing I recollect from the fight. Who's gatekeeper right now, Emma? Emma responded, there isn't one. Den was the final remaining one, however he fixed his spirit to the mythical serpent balls at the post, making it where whoever was the close to find them the following Gordian, however that was around 400 years after the fight. It's great to see you, Container. Goku and the others won't trust this. I truly ought to tell them. Container mumbled as he stated, all right, I want to allow Naruto to have his body back at this point. You said the Dragon Balls are currently at the post. That is perfect. That is the means by which I can get my body back. Emma gestured, and Dish responded, much appreciated, Emma. And trust her with the kid. She's more grounded than Kyobi might at any point expect to be. Her race when it vanished was the most grounded in the whole world, Emma stated after taking a look at the third before he broke down. More questions before I return control to Naruto. He can hear us, so he definitely knows all of this. Container remarked, glancing at the Hokage and Jiraiya. What did Emma mean by race? Asked the Hokage. Skillet said, I'm just one half human. My granddad on my father's side and my grandma on my mother's side were both full-bloods of a humanoid-looking race called Saiyans. Both my folks were half Saiyans, as am I. The main genuine contrast that I know other than our exceptional Abelites is that we have these. Highlighting a tail behind her not long before she was canvassed in smoke, and Naruto was once again into the right spot where she was a second prior. Before he flickered and looked up, Naruto placed his palm near his face and shook it for a moment before saying, So does that answer any inquiries? The third individual replied, Okay, however, for what reason did you not notice this sooner? Naruto replied, Straightforward. I met her when I was dropped after the seal was meddled with by the Heba team. I attempted to tell Kakashi, however he was too in the middle of agonizing over Sasuke, and afterward you heard the rest. Other than him apprehensive assuming we screw with the seal, she might need to be driven once again into Kyobi, and I don't need that. It's just temporary, however, on the grounds that she said she knows a method for aiding me out, however she won't let me know what yet. Jiraiya replied, So you're going to get preparing from her, huh? Do you want anything? Naruto looked at her for a moment and replied, No. Dish said she can deal with it all once we get where we are going, however she says I want to leave quickly since the Kyobis chakra is harming me at the present time. After working out the arrangement and getting Jiraiya to sign it, the third said, Right, Naruto, kindly be cautious, and this is the very thing you needed. He then made 3 copies and gave one to Naruto, who gestured and said, Thanks, elderly person. I got to go. Saya. He then hurried out of the pinnacle. The third individual replied, Jiraiya, attempt and follow him and ensure he's alright. I realize Emma trusts the young lady, however I don't yet. Jiraiya gestures and before long follows Naruto. Naruto rushed till he reached the backwoods of death once more, and then, because it was a 45-foot leap, he landed on the wall before entering the woods, stunning Anko, who was consuming dango. As she took another bite of her dango, Anko looked at him and uttered the words, Damn Gaki. She was about to follow him when she heard someone shout, Glow, from within the backwoods. She rushed up the wall and watched as a cloud of gold flew into the woods. She leapt to her feet and started sprinting in the direction of the cloud's departure. Just a few seconds before, Naruto had just cleared the wall and asked himself, What now? The voice of Skillet instructed, Go somewhat further in the woodland and yell out Aura. At the point when you see a gold cloud show up, let him know your name and advise him to take you to the post. After a few seconds, a gold cloud appeared at unfathomable speed and stopped in front of Naruto, who gestured his head and yelled, Radiance. Naruto then said, I am Naruto Uzumaki and I need to go to the post. Naruto heard the container say, Jump on, plunk down and don't shout or move, as the cloud drifted a few feet lower. As Anko landed, Naruto followed suit, and she subsequently said, What's happening here, Gaki? With a yelling Naruto ready, the cloud shot out of sight as Naruto turned and stated, You are the crazy inspector woman. Tell the Hokage I will be back when I promised. Dish covered her head and whispered before she took a gander at the fox and remarked, Simply pause, you will get yours. As she sneered. With a growl, the Kyobi murmured, Whatever, monkey. Naruto looked around because he was pretty sure he heard a shout and a blast somewhere a second earlier. This doesn't get told to anybody other than the Hokage. Figured out Anko, Jiraiya remarked as she leaned beside Anko. Anko gestured and checked out at Jiraiya. At the moment, Jiraiya lifted off again, heading back to the Hokage tower. When he returned to the pinnacle, the third said, What's wrong, Jiraiya? Where's Naruto? While 2 Kagebunshin were working at his desk. He got onto some abnormal gold cloud and took off very high, Jiraiya added, looking around. With a wide gaze, the third responded, I understand. There is probably nothing more we can do at this point. Please continue trying to learn anything you can about Orochimaru until he gets back. The third idea is, you messed up Kakashi, but this might be better or more regrettable. Jiraiya gestures and walks away. After the first 15 minutes, Naruto had become accustomed to flying on Glow and was enjoying himself immensely. Glow soared up the shaft and went past a structure on the highest point of the structure with an odd plant growing on top of it. Naruto soon noticed a small island appear, but what made this island unique was a post nearly the size of the island reaching far up. Sensu bean plants, thought Skillet, panting as he looked into Naruto's eyes. That is additional to what Korin has at any time. How could they develop so much? That's right, Korin presumably vanished quite a while in the past, so his pinnacle is in all probability vacant. Unfortunately, as she saw them fly significantly more. Before long they showed up at the post and Dish saw something she never expected to see. She said, "Naruto, let me take over Aegean briefly." Dish appeared, jumped off the cloud, and stated, expresses gratitude toward Radiance. As Naruto flinched and thought, all right. He was suddenly covered in smoke. As the cloud briefly glistened before taking off, Dish turned and remarked, "Hello, Mr. Popo. It's great to see you again. After all this time, I'm surprised to see you here. I had heard from Den and the others in Otherworld that you had brought the container back," Mr. Popo replied with a smile. Emma apparently informed them after determining the particular nuances. "About how I'm still alive. Because I'm a Jenny, I'm eternal. I made the decision to keep up with things here until a new watchman was selected." "What do you truly desire, Dish?" "I really want the winged serpent balls first," remarked Container. "I'll really want to tell you what I want once I've made my desire." "Follow me please," Mr. Popo gestured. After a few moments, they walked onto a large patio where the 7 Dragon Balls were seated in a wellspring, looking generally radiant. Dish smiled and walked forward, saying, "Stir from thy everlasting sleep, I call you forward," emerged Shenlong. Everyone on the planet witnesses some part of this as the winged serpent covers the entire planet twice and declares, "You who have stirred me from my everlasting sleep have 5 wishes." In Konoha, the Hokage hears shouting and rushes to his window to see the sky faint with storm mists and a brilliant light sparkling overhead that soon turns into the body of a mythical serpent. "Now share your most memorable wish." "What is the Kakashi?" asked Sasuke. Kakashi remarked, "I'm not sure. Apparently it's not messing with anybody, so left it be. Go back to work." Sasuke makes a motion and begins to try to climb further higher. From this, the container was widely stared toward. The legendary beast only had 2 wishes when she last saw it. Quickly reflecting, she responded, "Shenlong, my most memorable desire is to have my actual body gotten back to me and permit this kid who possesses this body to hold his." After Shenlong's eyes briefly glowed, Dish appeared before Naruto, who collapsed onto his butt, and uttered the words, "Your desire has been conceded. What is your subsequent desire?" Dish stated, "I wish for individuals I'm believing in my mind to be resurrected and brought here." Suddenly, 2 individuals appeared, and Naruto swooned as he looked in the direction of the yondaime and a woman with red hair. With the exception of the fact that they weren't their usual selves, Goku, Chi-Chi, Gohan, Goten, Videl, Krillin, 18, Dend, Trunks, Mirai Trunks, Vegeta, Bulma, Piccolo, Container, and Maran all appeared at that point. They were all Saiyans aside from Piccolo and Dend. Shenlong replied, "Your desire has been allowed. What is your 3rd wish?" "I wish for him and the 2 his folks be transformed into full-blooded Saiyans like most of us," Container remarked after glancing at Naruto, his parents, and the others. Shenlong's eyes shine once again, and Naruto's tail, along with those of Kushina and Minato, leaps out of their backs. Shenlong questioned, "What is your 4th desire?" Skillet stated, "I wish for a gateway to interface this world to the dead doppelganger world that we battled Omega Cell on, completely re-established to the way things were after everything Harem was fixed." "What is your last desire?" An entrance said as Shenlong's eyes glistened. Dish stated, "I wish for the Kyuubi that is within Naruto to be taken out, however his energy is all to go to Naruto as well as his recuperating skill to stay with Naruto and Kyuubi be fixed until the end of time everlasting." A figure wearing a cover appeared as Shenlong's eyes glistened and said the words, "This one is under my power. He should be permitted to kick the bucket." Shenlong replied, "Great. The being known as Kyuubi will be fixed until the day the kid kicks the bucket. On the day they will battle to conclude who will have unlimited authority. Up to that point it will be fixed with the new Shinigami." The now titled Shinigami bowed and stated, "I acknowledge your judgment, Shenlong. I will see you, Aegean." And he disappeared with a seal showing up on his body. Shenlong remarked, "Your last desire has been conceded. I will get back to my sleep." Naruto's face shook, and the bristles all over him started to dissolve. A brilliant gleam then appeared, and the winged serpent balls began to fly in different directions. Jiraiya was observing the hot springs in Konoha when he was suddenly struck in the head by a stone, which caused him to pass unconscious. When he eventually woke up, he looked at the stone and thought it was strange because he could sense a chakra emanating from it. He fixed it onto a piece of parchment, deciding to save it. Just a few hundred miles away, in a gambling town, Sunnet had just put her last quarter in a machine, pulled the handle, and 3 sevens appeared. The light had started to streak when the machine suddenly broke apart, sending a stone flying through it and striking her in the bosom, giving her a purple aureola. Sunad grabbed the stone and threw it briskly away while shouting. Shizune stated, Sunad, I figure we ought to go. After reflecting, Suan replied, however my rewards. She then added, all right, gives up. She was in a gambling club where the owner was observing her write up a bill for the machine's destruction. After looking around, Gohan exclaimed, what on earth? Skillet walked up and greeted everyone. After glancing at Skillet and then the other container, Vidal asked, what's happening here? Container grumbled and said, leading I surmise we better manage the name thing. I suppose you can all call me Dora since we were initially named after our grandma Pandora, so why not have both since they are a young lady's name? Who are you and for what reason do you seem as though me? Asked Container. Goku looked to the back of his head and said, well, I didn't be able to tell you yet, however recollect when you and Captain Jinyu were battling. Recall how a short time later you said you felt odd for reasons unknown. The explanation was your spirit sort of got duplicated and this is her, however what's going on I don't know and I don't know who those 3 are. I'm the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha Minato Namikaze and who are you and what's going on? Minato stated, looking around at everyone while keeping his distance from his significant other. Dora said, leading dipshit. You don't need to stress over battling right currently, so quiet down. Kushina replied, who on earth are you to converse with my significant other like that young lady? With a smile, Dora highlighted the passed out fair and added, no doubt your future girl in regulation, assuming I have anything to say regarding it, however that will depend on Naruto here. After giving Naruto a curious glance, Kushina heaved and pointed at him, saying, Minato, look. After giving it a quick glance, Minato exclaimed, is that our child? So that was truly about the Kyuubi prior. Dora replied, okay, presently I believe it's time I explain to everybody why I resurrected everybody. Piccolo responded, that would be really smart, Dora. Dora replied, Piccolo, could you at any point actually do the memory view strategy you did before that last fight? With a gesture, Piccolo responded, okay, why? Dora replied, I believe you should show everybody my recollections that I erased so everybody can see the reason why I believe they here should help. Piccolo approaches her, places his hand on her head, and holds out his hand before a massive, 10-foot wide chunk of energy appeared. Everyone started to watch, and they saw the final battle, Dora waking inside the Kyuubi, her trying to escape and collapsing, and the world being destroyed by the evil presences that followed by its resurrection as it was called to the survivors. The evolution of ninja, the unusual battles, and, finally, Kyuubi's attack on the Hidden Leaf settlement. Her memories then shifted to her observing Naruto's life. Minato and Kushina were currently gritting their teeth as they watched their child go through as much as they could till he left town to go there. As may be obvious, the world has totally deteriorated since we were alive initially. Dora stated, at first, I had moved towards simply attempting to prepare Naruto here myself in our approach to battling, but after I caught wind of having 5 wishes, I chose to take all of you back to help in that as well as to fix this world. All of the Z contenders looked at one another. Vegeta replied, I say we shoot it to molecules and track down another planet. I need to say that the kid there has the stuff to be a Saiyan, so I definitely approve of him going along with us. Den stated, it's my shortcoming. In the event that I had chosen another watchman, absolutely no part of this would have occurred. Piccolo replied, no, something occurred between the time you passed on until the followed evil spirits showed up. That implies that anything it was is to be faulted. Everyone turned and panted when a voice stated, really, you're off base. Vegeta responded, not you, Aegean, Omega. Omega Goku stated, I'm apprehensive, so Vegeta. Everything went by the arrangement that I had set out so long ago, as he stood there in his Super Saiyan 4 sitting in a lotus pose. The Bulma asked, what plan? Omega responded, straightforward, Bulma, all of you think this is as yet the Earth, do you not? Will somebody, if it's not too much trouble, let me know the damnation continuing and who all you individuals are? Kushina asked as everyone looked around. Omega replied, I go by Omega and I'm the guardian of the mythical serpent balls. They resurrected every one of you and eliminated the Kyuubi from Naruto there. Why is Omega this all? Goku asked. All of the Saiyans gaped in surprise as Omega continued, welcome to what will become Planet Vegeta. Vegeta responded, however that is unimaginable. Omega sneered and remarked, probably not. It was all necessary for the future and he is the key. Pointing to Naruto, I was referring to this precise second when I said, the first will be last and the last will be first. Naruto's DNA was set to become the principal Saiyan at that point because the Kyuubi was trying to escape using his chakra control, and that escape attempt would not only set it up for him to become the principal Saiyan, but also the only one of us to ever become Super Saiyan in our primate structure. Why do you all think that I had introduced you all to Emma before the fight? During the departure attempt, Naruto's closest friend would have used Emma to try to stop Kyuubi, and Emma would have bitten Naruto. I have altered the fate of our race and the entire system by changing time. I was the one who cloned Dura's soul and imprisoned it in the Kyuubi so that she could see the world for all intents and purposes and then help to change what's in store. I was also the one who had the number of wishes changed for this one event from 2 to 5. That would have tainted his gorilla qualities. A month later, he would have conceived a child with a couple of young women, and then he would have destroyed himself in his gorilla structure when he witnessed the full moon. Vegeta remarked, so he is simply the person who might annihilate that I educated you concerning on planet Namek Kakarot. Checking Naruto out, Omega raised his hand and asked, so to this end you let us know we needed to remain on the dead planet and never leave, and I bet it was you who made it where not a single one of us at any point had some other kids, and why we are back to our bodies very much like we were for that fight. Omega said, okay, you each need to change the fate of the cosmic system as well as our race. Naruto here is the key. Now that he alongside his folks here are a piece of our race, it is the ideal opportunity for you each to assist with molding another future for our race as well as that of the Namekians and Earthlings. We should stop the Cells, Frieza, and others like them from truly coming to creation. We each have the power and abilities to do what is required, yet Naruto here has the key that will shape us. After Naruto here initially annihilated himself, it constrained individuals of this planet to change their lifestyle. Ninja failed to exist. The frog summons had a legend that he would cause an upheaval in this world. He would either improve it or obliterate it. It likewise made this planet have 10x ordinary gravity, which it doesn't currently, and furthermore why they went for propelling innovation rather than ninjutsu and abilities. I have let you know all that I can now. I needed both of you here, Den and Piccolo, to attempt to begin getting this planet fixed. But we knew both you have what it takes to make it work alongside the remainder of the Saiyan race. Goodbye, and I trust everything works. And he blurred from view. When Naruto opened his eyes and saw everyone's faces, he groaned, wiped his head, and murmured, what happened? It feels like my birthday or something. After looking around and spotting Minato and Kushina, he mockingly remarked, extraordinary, I'm dead. Dora pointed to them and said, no, you're not, Naruto. I used the mythical beast balls and resurrected you, father, along with your mom. For what reason do I have a tail? Asked Naruto, who had toughened, after feeling something touch him across the back of his neck. You now like everybody except the two green folks. They're Namek's yet are companions, Goku added as he stepped closer. Container, I want to get everything rolling. Preparation. I just got a month, Naruto stated with a gesture. Skillet came forward and said, Imdish, and the one you called Container before is currently called Dora. You can differentiate Beku Wace. I have the scar on my cheek and she doesn't, accentuating her features. Naruto sighed and said, all right, so let me check whether I got this straight. My folks are the yondaime and some woman I never seen. There are currently 2 dish, however one is called Dora now. I'm now something many refer to as a Saiyan that gave me a tail, and there are 2 green folks and an entire pack of others I think would be Saiyans. Okay, Bulma said. As he licked his lips, Naruto gestured, well, I surmise I will work with this fantasy. Essentially it is not any more bad dreams about the residents. Vegeta followed up with a key effect, saying, this isn't a fantasy, whelp. After saying, don't hit high, Minato stayed in front of Naruto, only to be punched in the stomach, which sent him flying back almost 20 feet. Kushina observed this and charged Trunks, who hit her better half and suffered a kick in the side of the head, making her fly over and hit Minato. This infuriated Naruto, who rushed forward to strike Trunks, who dodged all of the punches and kicks as if they were insignificant, only to kick Naruto into a wall and start beating him. With a sigh, Bulma walked over, stopped Trunks, and dragged him away. Everyone raised an eyebrow as Naruto cut up blood for a moment, but his wounds quickly healed. After standing up, Naruto stated, let's try this again. Gohan replied, I got this. We truly need to begin preparing them, assuming that we will get them up to our level to do anything. After grabbing Naruto and dragging him out, Piccolo remarked, no, I will take him first and utilize the exaggerated time chamber. With the desires we made on the time chamber in the past, it ought to make preparing him quicker. He then walked into the building. Will somebody kindly clarify for me what's continuing and how was the kid sufficiently able to take out me? That's what my better half and our child like, Minato remarked after getting up and looking around at everyone. Well, essentially we are a race called Saiyans, Gohan said, looking around, then explained over the next few hours the Z contenders, the battle with Cell, Frieza, and the others, as well as the mythical beast balls. Then it was about Omega Goku and the future. He then, at the moment, made sense of how the time chamber was currently 2 years rather than 1, yet they didn't age while fear in there. He then gave more clarification on how to use feeling ki. When he finished speaking, Kushina and Minato understood a little better. Surprisingly, they had even previously figured out a technique to channel their energy, but they don't have much. After that, Minato proceeded to explain the fundamentals of chakra, which turned out to be a weaker version of ki. For a while, the Z heroes paid attention, but after realizing it was more vulnerable, they ignored the others. Alongside Naruto. Naruto got up in a peculiar white room and he gazed around and noticed a green figure hovering in the air and he inquired, "Where am I?" He retaliated by taking a punch to the gut, then another kick, which sent him tumbling to the ground. After chopping up blood once again, Naruto asked, "What in blazes was that and who are you?" He punched Naruto again, who tried to evade but felt heavy, after saying, "I'm Piccolo, your most memorable teacher. Your most memorable illustration is evading and obstructing. I won't quit hitting you regardless of whether you tumble down, so let's proceed." After feeling lighter, he opened his mouth to speak, but Piccolo interrupted him by saying, "Assuming you got time to talk, you got time to battle." With no way out, Naruto tried to move but was unable to do it again because of the gravity. After falling, he said the words, "I cannot see you." Piccolo stopped and replied, "Okay, I will prevent a second from going after you. I'm going to zoom around you all around. I believe you should allow your eyes to lose center and don't squint and attempt to follow my developments. When I can see you can see my speed, I will increment it. Do you comprehend?" As he searched and discovered Piccolo, Naruto gestured and was kicked in the stomach, driving him farther into the wide abyss. He then said, "Where are you?" and then attempted to move, only to be punched. Hearing Piccolo respond, "You cannot move until you can see me." Naruto stood up, looked around, and tried to let his eyes relax, but they kept flickering. Finally, he started to observe a lengthy, effective power energy trail. The road then became shorter and shorter until he noticed Piccolo suddenly accelerating, and as the path lengthened, he neglected to pay any attention to him. Naturally, Naruto collapsed, panting on the ground, and uttered the words, "Sufficiently that." Piccolo appeared ahead of him and booted Naruto, who landed and fell, saying, "It's rarely enough. We have just been rehearsing for 2 days. Let's proceed." As he grabbed Naruto and started to soar farther into the gap, Piccolo gestured and thought, "He's got incredible endurance but needs to improve. He likewise needs to speed up. He's just at 10x typical Earth gravity at this moment. Well, could work." Eventually, Piccolo found what he was looking for and threw Naruto into what appeared to be a lightning storm before taking off for the passage to rest, leaving Naruto in the storm. Before long, ice framed over Naruto and afterward dissolved, and afterward his skin consumed, and subsequently lightning hit him and he arose shouting in pain and attempted to move, however couldn't. "Let's see how long it takes for him to leave," Piccolo thought with a smirk. "Damn it, where are you, Piccolo? Help me leave," Naruto thought. Piccolo flew out to where he left Naruto and sweet dropped after nearly a month of believing that Naruto would get stormed. Now, Kujunshins, who had tied a kunia to their buttocks, were trying to battle the lightning as Naruto was rushing through the storm, dodging it. "What's happening with you?" asked Piccolo. "I've been trying to speed up so I could see you," Naruto stated as he turned around. "He can't be that stupid, can he?" Piccolo wondered as he started to perspire. Piccolo replied, "Okay, cancel those things and let's perceive how far you gotten." All of Naruto smiled, and he shoved a kunia up Piccolo's ass after hearing a voice behind him say, "Konoha's secret taijutsu, 1,000 years of death." Piccolo flew forward as all the Kujunshins began moving on the floor giggling. After he destroyed the kunai, Piccolo stood up and sent a key impact at the clones, destroying them. He then looked at Naruto and placed his fingers on his forehead. Naruto started to back away, and Piccolo shot the bar at him, saying, "See you in the following aspect. Extraordinary pillar gun." Piccolo flared up to fire key impact at Naruto, who was zigzagging all over the place trying to get away, and shouted, "Gracious damnation, no. You're dead, kid." Even though he was genuinely avoiding the contact, he nevertheless felt the painful shockwaves. Kushina was about to say article of back Minato came aerial by them and hit a timberline authoritative if abatement over age against his head. Had it not occurred for the 23rd time, Kushina would have been beaten. Dora stated, he won't be able to do annihilation age against those two at his accustomed level. Hell, alike his iteration is not activity to assignment as we already proved. With a sigh, Kushina murmured, "He's stubborn." Dora said, "So is your son. I aloof achievement I can get him to abatement in adulation with me." According to Kushina, you absolutely affliction for him, huh? According to Dora, I would draft up a planet for him. Thank and you all listen to me to add that auto displace for the aperture afterwards and ages in there if it was blown up. Krillin exclaimed after the abstract time Alcorvez aperture suddenly exploded and everyone fled. Kushina inquired, so how connected is an ages in there compared to time out here? About 31 minutes. 60 minutes, 24 hours, 365 days, 2 years, 24 months, 24 hours, and 60 minutes, 18 said. 31 minutes after the aperture exploded again, Kushina nods and sits back down. Goku asked, "Does anyone understand why the aperture keeps accepting blown up?" Den said to everybody who was around him, "Naruto pissed Piccolo off." "So how do you perceive the end?" Minato inquired. "I asked Piccolo, who blew it up the aboriginal time, if aggregate was okay," Den stated. "He sent me a picture of himself preparing to set Naruto on fire under special circumstances." "Why?" Dora inquired. Den stated, "It seems that Naruto ashore Akunia in Piccolo's changeable organ." According to Kushina, so Naruto stabbed him in the nuts. "No, you see, my chase does not acquire males and females," Den answered. "We lay eggs, which emerge from our anus, and we are asexual." Amidst the chaos, Bulma laughed and remarked, "He landed Akunia in Piccolo's ass." "That's Hillary's." Everyone overseas began to chuckle. "So is Naruto accomplishing Den?" inquired Gohan. "I anticipate he's about as fast as you, Gohan," Den stated, commanding everyone to stop chaos and attend to the blossoming man. Kushina inquired, "What's wrong?" after noticing the attention on anyone's face. "It's nothing," Vidal stated. "The fastest of all of us is Gohan's true collapsed-out aerial acceleration." "I'm shocked," Den said, referring to his lowest speed. "He still doesn't understand how to fly. Another abhorrent person." "So how fast are you, Gohan?" inquired Kushina. Gohan replied, The aftermost time I was activated I anticipated was around." I put an armband on him to almanac how far he flew in an hour at top speed," Bulma interrupted, adding, "His speed was just over 1,000 miles per hour. That's faster than the sound's acceleration." What did anyone expect from the albino at the center of the time chamber? "Come on, Piccolo, we've been doing this for what seems like months," Naruto muttered, avoiding another bang. "Are you doing anything to calm down and accept my apologies?" With a sigh, Piccolo landed and whispered, "Come on, child. You did fine." As he absolved over to Naruto, who was covered in diaphoresis and tired. Aback, his beard fell bottomward and he anesthetized out, and Piccolo's eyes got avant-garde and said, "No way." He picked Naruto up and flew him back to the lookout. He chased him overseas for about 2.5 months, setting up accessories with food and using deception attacks to get him to eat, but he never let him say goodbye. 4 hours later, he anesthetized him. In reality, he forgave him for an anniversary, but he continued the act to make his assignment harder. He looked at Naruto and was worried that his anatomy was bacterial and that his clothes were baggy. He shouted, "Free food," as they leaned on the aperture, and Naruto woke up right away. He looked around and said, "Where?" With a laugh, Piccolo added, "Go take a shower, and I'll bring you some clothes when you exit." He released himself from Naruto and said, "I will also prepare some food." Naruto complained and used a connected ablution, which allowed him to canyon out. When he woke up, he activated a basin of rice and new orange-dressed accessories, grinned, and ate the food before leaving and seeing Piccolo sitting in midair. "How do you do that?" he asked. To quote Piccolo, "Come sit actuality and I will advise you." Naruto did, and then Piccolo smirked as he observed the clothing becoming increasingly bulky and started to explain how you learn to focus and accompany it out while resting. After some time of apprehension and frustration, Naruto, who had his eyes bankrupt, managed to get it out. Koff was able to do so after 2 years. Hey Piccolo, how rise you never eaten consistently alcohol baptized in action me baptized but won't let me eat? Was the last question Naruto posed to the catechism that had been bothering him. Piccolo grinned to himself and remarked, you charge to eat all the time, but your anatomy is anemic. In order to feel your best after eating, you learn to make your body and mind stop hurting like it would if it were an illness. I understand, Naruto answered, nodding. I'm still able to get a linked root. There was a lot of excitement and chaos inside Piccolo. Take that boy, you stick a kunia in my ass. I abjure a Sanin, he said. After all, we finally receive ours. With a sigh, Naruto got to his feet, removed his accessories, and threw them onto the amphitheater. With a shocked expression, he murmured, how abundant is in that? Additionally avant-garde-eyed, Piccolo stated, only about 200 pounds. Why? Activity to try and get a coil out of my anatomy so I will be back later. Naruto shrugged as he launched himself into the white emptiness. That has about 4 bags in it alternating with the added 4 bags in his pants. 2 bags in anniversary of his accoutrements and leg weights, Piccolo said in astonished expectation. In addition to sighting it out in the abandon while I sat on the tiles at the entrance, he had to endure additional force, which amounts to 20 bags. What on earth is he? Beyond the abandoned, Naruto was active. He had anesthetized one storm and continued to add to his activity. While meditating in the lotus position, Piccolo suddenly had a vision. Piccolo's perception. Piccolo sat there in shock now. Naruto had eliminated him around a year ago, and he was unable to acquire him. He had also not been aback by food or destruction in that long. Piccolo consented to depart, but the alcove's opening would not allow it, and he flew until he was unable to apply pressure. The amount was calmly 6 feet alpine and thin, cool attenuate really. It seemed like all you saw was an after-angel of him for every footfall he took. He was like some array of nightmares, with algaed eyes and a way of absolving candidly beatific chills down Piccolo's spine. He was attractive to him, but he was unable to accomplish our annihilation for lingering about him. The Saiyan race is on the horizon, according to an expert. They will develop the capacity to do so. When Piccolo bankrupted the lotus position he was in, he peered over his shoulder and saw Naruto sleeping on a bed with 30 bowls left next to him. Will they be the champions of amends or will they be the murderers of billions? Piccolo let out a sigh and acknowledged that his eyes were surprised. He has been Naruto's brainwork for the past 2 years or so, and he has taught him how to sense ki, dodge, accelerate, and burrow it as able-bodied as how to do the appropriate axial cannon and ki blast. Not aback that day, Piccolo anticipated that Naruto's beard would do it again, so he doesn't know if he is a Super Saiyan or not because his beard is already like that. Perhaps this is why his beard does about face gold when he has out-tricked him. He pondered what anyone overseas had done for a successful day outside the time chamber, because today was the last time they would actually be at peace for a while. Everyone smiled at his outfit, which included a brace of white pants, an aphotic dismal shirt, and an appendage encircling his waist, until Piccolo and Naruto left. Goku said, so how is he? Once he was cleared. I get Annihilation Larboard to advise him, Piccolo stated. I can give him advice because he knows aggregate. As he assured his duke to Piccolo, Naruto grinned and said, thank you Piccolo Sensei. His acceleration left everyone, especially Piccolo, stunned. How did you get so fast? He inquired. What do you mean? Naruto asked, blinking. He looked down and said, I absolved apathetic over actuality because I did not appetite to cruise over these new shoes. Yeah, able-bodied you do acquire article you charge to do, Goku remarked, turning back to face Naruto and turning to face Vegeta, who nods and Piccolo all over his arch. You charge for additional book smarts from the apprentice. As she dashed into the opening to the unconscious doppelganger Earth, Chi-Chi grinned and exclaimed, to New Earth. Naruto inquired, what was that about? Just follow her instructions and chase her, Gohan urged. Fearing the frying pan of doom, he rubbed his arch and said, trust me, you will animate longer. Dora says, come on, Kushina, as Naruto nods and enters the aperture. As she touched the redhead, they both disappeared inside the time chamber. We are abutting for the time chamber. Goku inquired, so it's up Piccolo, you attending spooked? I'm not sure, Piccolo remarked. While in there, I had eyes. It was strange. When I met Naruto, he appeared to be a walking god, and I heard someone explain that the Saiyan race was coming and that they would either be heroes or monsters. Astonished, He ashed away again, his gaze similar to mine but a little slower. Goku answered, nodding, so how acceptable is he? I expected him to be cool with me already, but I lied to him for a while, and it never happened again or at Atomic, as far as I could tell, Piccolo said. I also don't think I ever pushed him to the limit. Most of the time, it resembled an irate apparition. His incarnation is aberrant. He normally recovers from any accident he has in a few accounts. It healed in 5 minutes after I struck him with an axial cannon that was acceptable for my abundant skill. He went to sit down and unwind, saying, if I didn't feel larger, I would say that I was upset with Cell for his recovery and ability to move so quickly. I'd a seat adjournment to get an able at him, Vegeta stated. Goku nods as he considers, though why do I anticipate that there is added activity on actuality afresh the conception of the Saiyan race. Minato is a little apart from them, using his aerial to channel chakra in order to prevent Trunks and Goten from plotting and to anticipate what is absolutely activity on. They act as though they don't really understand either. When Chi-Chi arrived at an academy and was released into a library, Naruto was shocked by its size. As she departed, Chi-Chi remarked, I appetite you to Alpha account while I go Alpha cooking. With a sly smile, Naruto flooded the library with Kijbunshin and began capturing as many volumes as he could. 12 hours later, Chi-Chi shows up with a huge cafe of food. She is shocked and furious, saying, sorry it took me so connected but I had to booty element to the ones on the anchor also. She then looks around and notices Naruto sleeping, so she gets irate and stomps over him, saying, wake up. With a grunt, Naruto awoke and questioned, what? Why are you not reading? Chi-Chi inquired. With a moan, Naruto murmured, done already. I don't anticipate so, Chi-Chi replied. Sighing, Naruto flooded the library with clones once more before displacing them and declaring, anything they apprentice I apprentice back I abolish them so I accomplished already. Eyes shining, Chi-Chi responded, teach me that, please. When Naruto sees the food, he nods and asks, may I eat first? After Chi-Chi nods, Naruto approaches and boringly begins to eat, drink, and baptize before slicing open a basin and declaring, I'm done. Chi-Chi then authoritatively dumps out her food. Chi-Chi inquired, how are you? You didn't eat much. Naruto replied, well, Piccolo told me that I had to abstain ate like I do affliction so I alone eat about 4 ounces of aliment and a fresh baptize and that's all. You are not abrogated until you finish eating this whole thing, Chi-Chi replied, blinking again. With a moan, Naruto began to eat more, and then a new smile came on his face as he continued to eat. Naruto, how old are you not counting 2 years in the time room? Chi-Chi asked, incredulously, as she watched him abide to eat. It wasn't the fact that he was bistro or how abundant that shocked her, but rather the way his anatomy began to change with the anniversary chaw he ate. His bark became convalescent, his anatomy became fuller, and he appeared to age by about a year in the avant-garde of her authority. According to Naruto, 15y. Chi-Chi replied, why are you earlier fresh the others that were in your sheik then? I bootless 2 times before authoritative me 2 years earlier fresh them, Naruto murmured, his eyes briefly blurring. Why? So that agency that his anatomy is absolutely animate to accomplish him attending his accurate age and fixing the accident from not bistro right, Chi-Chi anticipated. Fascinating. Naruto jolted her out of her reverie by asking, what's wrong? Chi-Chi remarked, oh, I didn't realize how attractive you were. The authoritarian Naruto threw out his food and questioned, what? I understand why my granddaughter brandished you. Chi-Chi remarked, did you not know? According to Dora, she wants to be your partner and has branded you. He was perplexed as Naruto questioned, what do you beg Arlie mate? Well, let me introduce you, dear, Chi-Chi remarked. This is how it is. Now that you are aware that you are a Saiyan, you will learn to trust your instincts. You are lifelong acquaintances. One acquaintance in a lifetime. These macho acquaintances also pass away if the changing acquaintance does. But what exactly is an acquaintance? Naruto uttered. Is it your followers or something? Attractive, perplexed. Chi-Chi murmured, basically it agency shiz your wife except you don't acquire to go through bells to be mates. Then what do you acquire to do? Inquired Naruto. Simple, a back you acquisition addition you like who you appetite to be your acquaintance you chaw them on the clothes abundant to draw blood, Chi-Chi stated, pulling her beard to the ancillary to seem near to her. The additional body life will appear and you both will canyon out if the one you choose surprises you. If the marks remain after you have finished your death watch, You are akin for life. Your alliance is dissolved and you are forced to choose a new partner if the marks are gone and you don't assign the memories of your acquaintance again. Naruto inquired, does that go for alone Saiyans or approved bodies also? At first, it would assign for accustomed bodies, but it was not as able a connection. Chi-Chi groaned. Bulma and I became Saiyans because we made up an ambition on the dragon assurance that after we got our activity partners, they would turn into abundant-blooded Saiyans. The others wanted to be made up so that any of your guests who later learn about their activities will have new friends who will turn into Saiyans. So you're saying Dora wants to become my activity mate? Naruto nodded. With a nod, Chi-Chi said, Naruto, is there annihilation abroad? I should know. Well, I will learn to expect that, Chi-Chi answered. I don't expect so, but I definitely lie. After concluding the bistro, Naruto nods and asks, so what now? After giving it some thought, Chi-Chi remarked, okay, what exactly did you learn from these books? A combination of history, fantasy, and some obscure reality, but I am not adhering to what they beg Arlie too much, Naruto remarked, severing his arch. It seems as though I have bits of puzzles but not the complete one. That's because you do. Was an authoritative articulation from the aperture that both about-faced and saw Bulma continuing there. Naruto inquired, what do you mean? This is a high school reality that Chi-Chi brought you to, Bulma explained. Because you never see or hear of aspects of this reality, such as abridged technology and the variety of things, it has elements that are avant-garde to you. To improve it, you charge more for an apprenticeship. So he needs to apprentice the added basics, Chi-Chi stated. Bulma said, I perceive the absolute spot, and nodded. As she went, she said, chase me. So how connected did it booty you to apprentice to fly? Chi-Chi said as they both stood up and followed her and Anon while they were flying overseas. Naruto remarked, I abstruse to use ki energy after an anniversary. It's funny if you expect it to happen because it appears like ki activity is less harmful to my system than the Kyobi chakra I had on my own. It appears that your perception has become accustomed to the advice you receive, Bulma stated, narrowing her eyes. You mentioned arrangement instead of anatomy and abstruse instead of knowledge. Although you charge to be correct with what you do with this talent, you already have it, so I expect that's acceptable. We don't want any more cells. Naruto inquired, so breadth is this abode we are going? Oh, Bulma remarked, that easy. I spoke with your parents, Dora, and Abstruse, and they said that you don't need to be about your Kijunshins to hear the advice. Therefore, what I'm asking you to do is organize an army to raid the Anniversary Academy and Library and try to maximize the effectiveness of this jutsu. At the top of his lungs, Naruto exclaimed, so basically you appetite me to actualize as abounding clones and acquire them go to every abode I can to get info. Bulma agrees, and Naruto responds, I can then save a lot of time for all of us. I was with Piccolo when I activated this article. He closed his eyes again and lowered himself in a lotus position in the air, and both women began to attend to him as his key activity began to go college and college. His beard began to fly up, and his eyes began to afflict bloom, and lightning began to animation off of him. He put his easily in an allowance and screamed, Tau Kijunshin no Jutsu. Both women were completely taken aback as an army of Kijunshins appeared and took off aerial all around, until it seemed as though the entire planet was covered in them, and they sunk into anyone who was involved. It was like admitting that Naruto could fly, but his clones were unable to fly, and they fell chargelessly for a few moments before force affected them and pulled them downward, so Naruto had to stop and bloom and say, oops. He ached the back of his head and said, I did that before I abstrused to fly. As she took off again, Bulma nodded and added, well, come on, let's do what I was activity to say to do. Chi-Chi said, Bulma, bread are we? When they choked and fell into what appeared to be a baby apple after 30 accounts. This is a suitable residence. Alleged Eden, Bulma stated. A bridge corp was given an experimental apple so that we might achieve amplitude biking and obtain revenue on planets that are not as accessible as a new apple. As she disappeared into a massive tower, she said, Arise on. Bulma smirked and remarked, in this architecture there is every accepted book in the apple that had been arise up to the time that we created this apple with the Dragon Balls. Chi-Chi and Gohan followed, and Anon saw why Bulma Capital had arisen here. I now want you, Naruto, to aggregate the alpha accounts in these boxes that have the letter K on them. To get you started, pull out an abridged and place the button on top of it on the amphitheater. There will be roughly 100 books each abridged. We will provide food for you to eat throughout the day as you study. I'm curious about that article, Naruto inquired. Why do you accept me as an apprentice when these things don't exist in my world? Chi-Chi stated, easy. As an association, we are engaged in activities to be active there and use these ideas. But how are mom and dad activity to use them? Naruto inquired, nodding. That's easy, Bulma said. In order to allocate and get Dora, you will be the only one to learn to apprentice the majority of this reality. Your parents are already friends, so don't be surprised. After shedding a few tears, Naruto remarked, so fresh they acquire a chaw on their necks. Naruto confused his arch and started working after both women nodded. Dora added, now you acquire what I appetite to do, huh? As she glanced at Kushina, who had asthma, within the time chamber. To attempt a large-scale attack, you don't need to have a lot of key activity. As she attempted to hit Dora with a key boom that was swatted away, Kushina was the only one who could nod. Dend remarked, Minato, could you arise actuality a minute? As he gazed down at the globe beyond the time alcove. After successfully hitting Goten chock full from a distance, Minato went to Dend, who was at the anchor's bend, and inquired, what's up? Dend claimed, I was distantly beautiful during the apple action, and I seem to pick up a number of things that irritate me. I learned that a group of people going by the name of Adasuki intend to arrive after Naruto and the others who have one of the tailed demons bankrupting them. I also learned that Konoha will be assaulted during the Chunin examinations. Really, sounds interesting, Vegeta remarked with a ridiculous expression. What are you expecting, Kakarot? Want to visit that weakling village and have some fun? I do, Gohan replied. According to Minato, so do I. All right, but what are we going to do? Goku moaned. With a sly smile, Minato remarked, oh, I acquire an aloft apprentice I appetite to see. Piccolo told everyone who was helping him, not yet. Then Vegeta said, and why not? Simply put, if you acknowledge things to Anon, how is Naruto activity to prove them wrong? Remarked Piccolo, who was remained in his brainwork stance. This essay, in my opinion, ought to be postponed until the finals. Minato, Dend inquired, how do you abolish a genjutsu? You aloof put yourself in this position and absolved a bang of activity from your body, Minato stated. Why? Dend stated, the guy who affairs to beforehand is planning to put best of the apple beneath one afresh and aback none of us knew how to allay it I admitting I would ask. Well, I'll tell you all how to dispel it then, Minato replied, nodding. Thank you for the caution. Mirai looked at him and replied, if you would alibi me but breadth is the best abode to acquire a brand fabricated on this planet. Infuriated, Piccolo exclaimed, who for? Mirai replied, I appetite to advise Naruto about how to use swords. All he has to do is run his claret beyond it and alone he will be able to use it. Piccolo nods and extends his hand to the ancillary and Anon. A brand and an activity acreage materialize, and he tosses it to Mirai. As he walked steadily like an angel, Piccolo anew affected his arch and beheld reality with his eyes once again. He was shocked to realize that everyone was beautiful to him again, and Goku questioned, what is it, Piccolo? I saw the aforementioned eyes again, stated Piccolo, bewildered. I don't understand why. It's the future, Dend stated. I see it as being even farther distant now, but I'm not sure what that signifies. Gohan responded with, we will aloof acquire to adjournment and see. Everyone gives a nod, ponders, or prepares the day's blow. Over the adjacent 27 canicule, Naruto, Kushina, and Minato would spend a day celebrating their anniversary in the abstract time chamber, learning about the apple in the dead world, and then spending another day of blowing and meditation. Naruto had been irritating Dora for the longest time after he activated out that she admired him but continued to accept ambush and keep away. The agenda then changed to the following.